does not fight for your collective and individual ability to compete, which means equitable and equal representation of jobs, economics, education, housing, law, medical treatment, entertainment, religion, sex, defense, and protection, as stated by your cries, is a leadership that will lead you or keep you in bondage.
Racism is still alive in American. I'm tired now. Death was better than bondage.
Warrior class, Zoo, rise up. Warrior class, Zoo, speak up. Warrior class, Zoo, show up. Peace, blessings, and black love. This is Amaja Awetu coming to you black at it again. In this episode, this is a visual. So I want you guys to pay attention. So because on this one is a behavior check, is where it's two dogs are basically, one older dog is checking a younger dog's behavior as it pertains to communal interaction or community interaction. Basically, when the younger dog meets the older dog, the younger dog, the unsocialized dog, is a little rambunctious, is a little aggressive. Then the dog trainer has to bring in the more seasoned dog, the more mature dog, to basically behavior check the younger dog. And once you hear these man's words, this is me finding another example how we black men have forsaken our children. We have not done the things we need to do to check the behavior of our children. Like I told you with the elephant video, the problem with the animals checking other animals' behavior, the animals, they pretty much concede to the stronger energy force. So when a more dominant dog enters the environment, that dog will generally bow. They will fight, they will scrap, but very likely, less likely a life will be lost. Whereas in human life, since there really is no instructions, there's no guide, there are no men around, referees or whatever you want to call it, to put a stop to it, we generally go to the death. What we need to do is we need to get to a point where when an elder or a more experienced person says, you know, that's enough, we need to understand our behavior is enough. We can't check these boys right now because they're willing to cross the line. And many of you older men, you're not willing to cross the line. So what happens is because you're not willing to cross the line, they take advantage of your fear and your unwillingness to cross the line. They're willing to cross the line. You have to get to a point where you're willing to cross the line. Roll the tape.
Finally comes out in about 30 seconds when you're going to see this. I tell the owner to walk away. She's got to be somewhere else. Personal protection is not the reason this dog goes at Prince. Property protection is not the reason this dog goes at Prince. Too much pent-up energy from a long drive is not the reason this dog goes at Prince. The only reason this dog goes at Prince, and most of these dogs in these videos that you see me do go at Prince, is because they're being jerks or they're being aggressive. Okay? That's it. And so guess what needs to happen? The dog needs to be checked. Okay, we're good. Back up. Hey, you back up. Go. 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 Ready? 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 Open the gate. Prince! Prince! Good boy. Prince. Now we're going to watch it in slow motion. The gate is going to be opened. The hound is going to chase Prince and hit him in the side, and you're going to see it in a minute. There might have been a bite in there. There might not have. Okay, he's running out, and Prince is doing nothing. Prince is on his own property. He's desensitized to Prince, and this is the meeting he has. It's inappropriate. The single best way for this dog to learn his lesson is for the dog that he hits or potentially tries to bite to apply the punishment, not the trainer. It works sometimes with the trainer, sometimes doesn't. Prince looks serious. Here's the thing with Prince, though. That's the greatest thing ever. His response is appropriate. He has not bit the dog one single time. He is just saying, knock it off. That is not okay. Now I want you to watch something right here. The lip lick from Prince right now, right there. He's saying, if you want this to stop, this can stop. And then the dog goes at him a tiny bit. Prince goes at him a little tiny bit. Just response. He's just responding. Now here's where Prince goes, okay, you want more? And I don't mean that in an attitude way. He goes for a little bit for the backside of Prince, and Prince says, okay, I've been cool to you. But if you want to keep doing this, I'm going to not be cool. It's going to get more and more. The response is going to get more and more every single time he does it. I know it is completely appropriate for Prince to do what he did. He did not hurt the dog in any way. He said, you cannot do that. And it came from the dog, not from a trainer, not from a leash, not from an e-collar. It is the most natural way that it could have possibly been done. Best thing for him.
Yeah, and Prince is the one, since I watched your shows, I trusted Prince.
Best thing for him.
Any other dog, I even Finn, I have no idea.
Greatest thing for that dog just happened right now.
Yeah.
Now look at it. They're over it. Prince isn't mad. He's not holding a grudge. He let him know that what he did was totally inappropriate because it was totally, absolutely inappropriate. He tried to essentially bite him in the side, and then Prince let him know, and then Prince said, I'm over it. I don't hate you. He doesn't hate him. He had to tell him what was up, and he needed to be told what was up, and now he's not perfect, but he's not attacking. Now, you cannot, we got to do more of this today, but, Princey, good boy. Good. This dog is now with us at the board and train. He has a group of friends. You're going to see him. This is the first time he's been with his group of friends. This is a couple days ago. He's been with us for like 5 days. So it took us a day or two to just make sure he's comfortable. Now he's with his friends. We're going to this is the first time he's meeting these guys. He's going to meet all these guys. He's going to go to the pasture with them. I'm just going to repeat some things that I said because I think it bears repeating. We set the dog up for success. Him going at Prince was unwarranted, and it needed to be corrected. And it was corrected the most effective way it could possibly be corrected, and that's from another dog. I'm not saying trainers or people have the dogs or have a dog or have the cojones, no offense, to do this. You have to be so darn sure that your dog is not going to hurt another dog. You can't possibly do this if your helper dog or your personal dog might hurt another dog. It can't be done, ever. That's just what I do and how I raise my dogs is to do this stuff, okay? But he needed to be told that he cannot do that, and he was told that perfectly. Now he was with other dogs. He was set up for success. We did not put him with Prince right away to where he was defensive or defending mom, or he had all this pent-up energy, or he was trying to be by himself. Then we desensitized him to Prince at the gate. We said, here's a dog. Let's get used to it. And you've seen me do that fence meeting many, many times before. And sometimes the dogs just calm down and you start to see a tail wag. And then you go, okay, great. This guy was like, I'm going to sit here and bark at you the whole time. So it warranted the muzzle on because we didn't know what he would do. And then we just let Prince out and said, listen, you want to be a jerk? Things happen. There's consequences in life. And he was a jerk. It was not the right way to approach a dog. I don't care that he's a hound and they're trained to do certain things and chase and nip at animals. This is the world that we live in. Now he's down with his friends, being a good boy, being happy. He's actually a really good dog. He's been to other trainers before. E-collars have been used. He was a hunting dog previously. A lot of things have happened. Now the owner has him, and she is doing an amazing job with him. And this is kind of the final thing to get him. She's never had him with a group of dogs before. So now he's with dogs. Now he's with friends. Doing amazing. That's the video. I hope you guys learn the process and learn something from that body language.
Remember, I talk behavior patterns and talking points. I want the listening audience to study behavior patterns and talking points. If you're able to study behavior patterns and talking points, in a nutshell, you can pretty much decipher a person's motive operandi, or at least where an individual's coming from, with a few words, a few talking points, and not a whole hour of sitting there listening to that person ramble. Again, when someone asks you a question, the best thing to do is just to answer the question. First, you give the answer, plain, simple. Then you elaborate, then you explain why. If a person elaborates or explains or prefaces it before they answer the question, look out below, because deception is coming. And most people will not answer the question plain because they have a bias. They have a hidden agenda. And I can't say where that agenda is going, because everybody has a different exit route. Everybody has a different interval. Everybody has a different yard line. We're not all going to go across that end zone. However, they can't go wherever they're going unless they put up that facade that they're trying to go to the end zone. So they rally behind, they hide behind the individuals that are willing to go the distance all the way. When those individuals are putting up such a hard and dedicated fight, those that are not willing to go across that end zone are usually going to dip off away off a fade to black, the 50-yard line, the 40-yard line, this 80-yard line, but most of us are not going to the 100-yard line because internally, individually, nobody wants to make the system of white supremacy in. It doesn't mean that much to them. When you were looking at the dogs, I hope you guys were trying to get a focus on the more mature dog, the black Doberman, G-check, the white hound. When it comes time to your sons and your daughters and people in the community, you have to check them. What went wrong with the boomer generation is when they were showing their fangs, their fathers didn't check them. The older men in the community, the older men in the neighborhood didn't check them. They let them be. And when those young males at that time was with the shit and they were willing to cross that line, the old heads wasn't pushing back. So they run amok. In the same way I showed you with the behavioral pattern of the elephants, the juveniles are going to run amok until order comes, until power comes, until something strong enough comes in. It says, cut it out. And in the black community, we haven't gotten to a point where the men step up and say, cut it out. My whole thing is trying to get you to understand why black men are weak. Black men are weak because of their mothers. And their coward fathers allowed it to happen. So if you are a coward, I don't care what gender is a coward. If you are a coward, how are you going to teach your child how to overcome whatever you're scared of that the child might be scared of as well? If you weren't able to overcome it, how are you going to get the child to overcome it? It creates a pattern of its own. Men are weak. Black men are weak. They're weak because of their mamas are making them weak. And if the father is not able to overcome it, how is he able to tell his son or his daughter to overcome it? You have to understand patterns. what was supposed to have happened was when those boomers, the original Bloods and Crips, they were born in the 50s. When they came of age, they were born in the late 40s, early 50s. When they came of age in the 60s and the 70s, there was supposed to be a communal pushback. A communal pushback enough to put them kids to sleep. They didn't do it. It was supposed to be a communal pushback enough to lock those kids up for good. They didn't do it. It's the same thing that we have to do right now with this misandrous hate that black women have towards black men. You're going to have to sue the women. You can't keep apologizing for their behavior. Well, it ain't their fault. White supremacy, racism. Doesn't matter whose fault it is. We want the behavior and the action to change. And you can't keep scapegoating her trying to say, well, until we get rid of the enemy, there's nothing. No, you punish all of the enemy's tools. Just like when you're looking at a mob boss or a drug crime family, they don't go directly for the boss. They get his lieutenants, his soldiers, his foot soldiers. They break down its defense mechanism first. Then once that boss, crime boss, cartel boss, has nowhere to go, then they go after him. But as long as that boss has a shield in front of them, he or she or they are going to use their shields and hide and go up in the mountains and do this, do that, as long as they don't get caught. And you guys know what I'm talking about. So when you hear an apologist talking about it ain't her fault, you gotta go to they're talking nonsense, and they have no intention of fixing it. They know strategy, they know problem solving. Problem solving is when your son is acting up, your best thing to do is to check it. Now, you don't check it with hate unless hate is being given. Other than that, it should always be checked with love. And when you confront these boys, you have to confront these boys with love. These boys will push back. That's the problem with human nature versus animal nature. Animals typically stop. When they realize it's a more dominant animal, they get bit, they get chewed up, but they will stop. Humans don't stop. They keep going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. And you older males, you're going to have to be willing to either put them to sleep or put them in jail. And they'll figure it out, because when you're in the military surrounded by a bunch of men, they figure it out. And when they go to lockup for a decent amount of time, they come out, that behavior is no longer there. Now they learned their lesson. And then now they walk with respect. Now they talk with respect. Now they make sure when they greet other people is with no funky business. And the problem with the civilian world is the men, the fathers, the uncles, the older brothers, they're not operating like that. The younger males have an scapegoat. They can go wherever they want. They can go to their mama's house. They can run. Go to their father's house. They can run. Can I go to your house and sleep in the basement? Can I sleep in the garage? Can I sleep in the shed at a girl's house? They got an escape route, and they're going to choose it. Instead of sitting there and doing what their parents said do, they're going to buck, and they're going to find an escape. Until we older men, until we more seasoned men, until we more experienced men actually start to push back. That means when these boys are out here killing innocent people, you're going to have to push back on that family, because they're the ones raising him. You're going to have to push back on him so much to where if you can't get him physically, you make him wish he didn't have his name. You punish the whole house. You fire him. You fire the siblings. You punish everybody until everybody get the message. You're going to have to treat black people by black people the same way white people would treat black people. That is the only measure black people understand. It has to be an all or nothing. It can't be anything else. Black people don't understand I went too far. They only understand all or nothing. And until black America operates an all or nothing, we will not come out of this. Warrior class, Zoo, rise up. Warrior class, Zoo, speak up. Warrior class, Zoo, show up. Warrior class, zoo. Smoke 'em out. Peace, blessings, and black love.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Fair Use Act disclaimer. This site is for educational purposes only. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research.